Okay, we can get started. Good afternoon. This is Peter Panapento. I am your moderator for this evening's webinar. I'm going to turn it over to Andrea Bass to get us kicked off.
Great, thank you, Peter. Hello, I'm Andrea Bass, campaign chair for the 2020 Hope in Motion Walk and Run. And I want to welcome you to today's webinar to kick off the first ever virtual Hope in Motion Walk and Run. We have a fabulous turnout this evening, and we know these are difficult times for everyone. So we want to personally thank you for taking the time to join us this evening. We so greatly appreciate your ongoing support for this important fundraising event. We have a lot of ground to cover, so I just want to briefly explain a few logistical details before we dig in. First, since we are recording this session, we want to preserve the sound quality. As a result, we'll be leaving everyone but the speakers on mute for the presentation. But that doesn't mean we don't want to hear from you. If you have a question at any point during the session, please type it into the question box, and we'll address it during the question answer period at the end. We'll also share a link to the recording afterwards, so you can refer back to anything we covered later. And so you can share it with your fellow team members, friends, and family. Now I'd like to introduce the presenters this evening. Tonight you'll be hearing from Kari Pollack, manager of the Hope in Motion Walk and Run, Liz Manfredo, director of the Bennett Cancer Center, Dr. Ann Angevine, medical oncologist, who will be joining us via video, Peter Panapento, a consultant with Turn 2 Communications, who has been helping us plan the virtual version of our event, and Gail Allswanger, director of development. They're going to walk us through how we got here, why this year's campaign is so important, how it's going to work, and your role in making it a success. Now, I'd like to turn it over to Kari Pollack, who will talk about how COVID-19 has impacted our plans for the 2020 Hope in Motion Walk and Run, and how we've decided to move forward with this year's event.
Thank you, Andrea, and thank you to everyone joining us on this webinar. I've been managing this event since 2007 with many of you by my side, and the first Sunday in June is always one of my favorite days of the year. Like all of you, I wish we were getting ready for June 7th and a wonderful day in Columbus Park. It's so energizing to be able to be there with all of you, proudly wearing our t-shirts and walking and running together on National Cancer Survivors Day to honor our survivors and to remember those who we have lost to cancer. But this year isn't a normal year. And as it's become increasingly clear that COVID-19 wasn't going to allow us to bring a large group of people together in early June, we were faced with a choice. We could cancel the event and regroup for 2021, we schedule it for a later date, or get creative and pivot to a virtual event. In the end, the choice was not difficult, and I'm happy to say we are going virtual. Why? First, there are no guarantees that we could plan to gather this spring or fall, so a virtual event was the only safe option. And as we thought about the creativity and spirit of our supporters like you, we knew we could pull it off. But more importantly, the need is so great for our patients that we could not afford to take a chance and not support those undergoing cancer treatments at the Bennett Cancer Center. That's especially true right now as we face a health challenge unlike any we've ever seen. To talk more about that need, I'd like to introduce Liz Manfredo, the director of the Bennett Cancer Center.
Good evening, everyone. For most of us, COVID-19 has brought our regular lives to a stop. Our children aren't at school, many are working remotely, and we're all giving up pleasures large and small, like going to the gym, meeting friends for dinner, getting our hair cut. But I can tell you there's one thing that hasn't stopped, and that's cancer. No matter who you are, no matter what you do, cancer doesn't care. People are still being diagnosed and still require treatment, even in the face of COVID-19. So we really must keep moving forward. Each year, more than 5,500 patients come through the doors at the Bennett Cancer Center. Treatments have been continuing each and every day, even as most of the community are sequestered at home. Because of the dollars you help raise each year through the Hope in Motion Walk and Run, we're able to provide our patients with critical services that help to support them and improve their quality of life through their treatment and beyond. That's true every year, and it's especially true this year. Without your support for continued funding, these services could be in jeopardy. And right now, as they face the added challenge of getting treatment during this pandemic, our patients need your help even more. Dr. Ann Angevine is working every day with patients here, and she knows just how big a threat COVID-19 is to their health. She's recorded this short video message to share what she's seeing.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Angevine, a medical oncologist at the Bennett Cancer Center. On behalf of the physicians and everyone here, I want to thank you for your support, past, present, and future. Just a quick update on what's been happening here at the Bennett Cancer Center. As you're very aware, coronavirus is impacting all of us, but it poses unique challenges for cancer patients, their families, and their caregivers. Cancer patients are among those at highest risk of serious illness if they become infected, because their immune systems are weakened by their cancer and by their treatments. Here at the Bennett Cancer Center, we've been taking extra steps to help ensure the safety of our patients during this pandemic. Patients receive a health screening phone call the day before arriving to the cancer center to be sure they're not experiencing any symptoms of COVID-19. In addition, they are screened again when they arrive to the cancer center. All patients and staff wear masks. Cancer care is not only about treating the disease, it is also about caring for the whole patient, which is something that we can do very well here because of the funds raised through the Walk and Run. That's where you come in. Monies raised through the Hope in Motion Walk and Run are used to provide so many crucial things to our patients, including transportation for patients to and from their treatments. The funds also provide nourishment in the form of daily lunches for those who are here undergoing treatments. The money raised provides them with stress relief and rejuvenation in the form of massage, Reiki, reflexology, yoga, and Tai Chi. It provides them with a cancer recovery program that helps patients get their strength and stamina back after their treatment is complete. It provides grants of up to $1,000 to help eligible patients in financial need with non-medical expenses. This benefit is especially important right now during these challenging economic times. I cannot emphasize enough just how important these services and resources are for those who are undergoing treatment. Your generosity translates into big impact on the patients that I see every day. Even during the best of times, cancer patients face incredible hurdles. Even during the best of times, they need your support. But especially now, they need your help to receive compassionate and supportive care that can help them through their cancer journey.
So this is why we're not stopping with our plans to move forward with a Hope in Motion Walk and Run this year. Cancer doesn't stop. We can't either. To explain what this means and how our virtual version of the Hope in Motion Walk and Run will work, I'd like to reintroduce Peter Panapetto.
Thank you so much. So what does it mean, or what do we mean when we say we're taking the Hope in Motion Walk and Run virtual? Well, it's not as complicated as it might sound. Rather than participating in an activity in person, you're doing it virtually. And you're raising money in much the same way that you would if you were gathering in Columbus Park. You're using the same website, you're using the same tools, you're just gathering and doing your activity in a virtual way. We'll go through the details of what that means and share some ideas on how to do that in just a minute. But it's worth noting that nonprofits across the country are converting their in-person events to virtual events in the face of COVID-19. People are hosting virtual walks and runs, they're posting colorful photos and videos on social media, and they're making the most of an unfortunate situation. So since social distancing is preventing us from having a large group get together on June 7th, we're asking you to commit to do something on your own that day to mark the event, and to reach out to those who you think might be interested in supporting you to make a donation on your behalf for the Hope in Motion Walk and Run. You can do this either on your own or with your team. So here are some ideas on what you can do instead. You could walk or run a 5K on your own on that day, using social distancing, of course. You could log a 5K on your home treadmill or elliptical machine, or you could come up with a challenge or activity of your own. Since COVID-19 started, a number of people have already been coming up with their own virtual challenges to support their favorite causes. This man, a 100-year-old British gentleman named Captain Tom Moore, did a virtual campaign in which he completed 100 laps of his home garden in his walker. Now, that was pretty creative on its own, and the results of that are even more impressive. He raised over $41 million for more than 1.5 million people. We're not expecting you to come close to achieving that, but the message here is that if he can do it as a 100-year-old man in a walker, you can too. Not to be outdone, there was a man in Paris who ran an entire marathon inside of his house. Can you imagine running back in your house for 26.2 miles? Well, he did, and he also raised money doing that. So we're not asking you or expecting you to take such drastic measures, though you certainly can if you're inspired to. If you don't want to take on a massive physical challenge, such as running a marathon in your house or even doing a 5K, you can still do something fun to raise money. You can collect pledges, and if you hit your fundraising goal, you could shave your head and stream it on video like these fundraisers did for St. Baldrick's Foundation. You could video yourself eating a ghost pepper. You could hold a virtual concert. You could play bingo or poker online with your team. Really, it doesn't matter what you do, as long as you're doing something on June 7th and you're using it as an opportunity to raise critical funds for the Bennett Cancer Center. We're going to leave it up to you or your team to decide on how you want to participate. The only thing we ask is that you make sure it's safe and that it follows whatever current guidelines are in place for social distancing on June 7th. And we'll share some more ideas later. So while you're thinking about what you might want to do that day, let's go over some important logistics. And let's start with registration. First, it costs nothing to register for the virtual event. If you haven't registered yet for the walk and run this year, you can sign up to participate free of charge on the website, and we encourage you to do just that. If you have already registered, the $50 fee you originally paid has been converted over to a personal donation. It will be added to your fundraising total on your homepage, and it will show up on the dollars raised total in your participant center. And if you've already paid that fee, you'll automatically get a t-shirt, which we'll provide to you at a later date once it's safe to distribute them. So about the t-shirts, if you register virtually as an incentive for you to fundraise, you'll receive a t-shirt once you hit the $100 threshold. And again, the shirts will be distributed later when it's safe to do so. We're hoping to do that in September. So how do you fundraise? Well, first off, if you've already raised money for this year's walk and run, those funds are automatically transferred over to the virtual campaign. You don't need to do anything to make sure those contributions make it to the right place. And if you've ever raised money for the walk and run before, the process is very simple and very similar. You can reach out to your friends via email and invite them to contribute with a personal appeal. It can be a simple message that explains what you're doing on June 7th, why you're raising money, and what their donation will support. You can see a sample email message here, but you can certainly come up with your own or work off of some version of this. Then you can link to your personal fundraising page and people can donate to you there. Now, if you're not someone who fundraises regularly, you might feel a bit uncomfortable about sending a fundraising email, or you might feel awkward about asking for money right now during the middle of a pandemic. These are very common feelings, but please know that it's totally appropriate to ask to support those in need, especially right now. Cancer patients are very much at risk right now, and your ask will be certainly timely. Your friends and family who have the means and feel compelled to give will gladly contribute, and even a small contribution matters. those who are unable or simply do not want to support the cause will not hold it against you. These are trying times, and a lot of people will want to help, especially if the ask comes from someone they trust. And if they trust you, they're not going to be upset if you reach out to them, even if they don't raise money or donate money. One really easy way to fundraise is through Facebook. I'm not really active on Facebook myself, but I've done a few Facebook fundraisers of my own over the past year, and my friends have been incredibly generous each time. So how do you do a Facebook fundraiser? Well, if you register for the walk and run, you can log into your participant center. There's a blue Facebook box on the right-hand side. You click on that, and then it walks you through some very easy steps to activate your fundraiser. And once you're confirmed, you're ready to start fundraising. So we recommend that when you do a fundraiser on Facebook, that you set a goal. It could be, again, a small goal or a large one, depending on what you feel comfortable doing. When you set up your fundraiser and you set your goal, Facebook will prompt you to write a little bit of a story about why you're raising money for the Hope in Motion Walk and Run. We recommend that you use that as an opportunity to tell a short story about how cancer has impacted your life. And to be authentic when you do that, really make it something real and heartfelt. It could be about your own personal journey. It could be about a loved one that you've watched battle or lose a battle with cancer. And if it is somebody who you're walking or participating virtually and on their behalf for, you can pair it with a photo of that person or you and that person together. Or if it's about your own journey with cancer, you can share a photo of yourself along with it. That alone will really motivate people to give through your Facebook page and will help you reach your goal. So you can also promote your personal fundraising page through social media using messaging similar to what we've outlined above, and explain why you're participating, who you're supporting, and how they can help. It can be short, simple, and direct. In fact, short, simple, and direct really is effective in this case. And please be sure that you use one of the hashtags listed here on your posts, so they will show up on our bulletin board and so that others who care about the walk and run can engage with your posts. Social media is going to be a very big part of this campaign and will help you connect with your teammates and friends throughout it. If we can't be together in person, we can still post pictures and videos on Instagram and Facebook. We can still see what our friends and neighbors are doing, our teammates are doing in support of the Hope in Motion Walk and Run. And you can still really capture and have a social moment with an event, even if you can't be there in person. So I hope you'll join us in starting to spread the word about the virtual event now, and you'll continue sharing your progress on social media between now and June 7th. So I mentioned a messaging board a moment ago. On the day of the event and leading up to it, we're inviting you to really chronicle what you're doing in support of the virtual walk and run. If you're training for it, if you're creating signs for it, if you are connecting with your teammates about it, use that as an opportunity to post a message, share a photo, use the hashtags. Those will ultimately appear on a virtual message board that we're putting together to chronicle the event. And you'll be able to see photos and videos of everybody who is posting, and use that as a way to really kind of see the breadth and creativity of what's happening around this great event. So try to have as much fun as you can. Don't forget to use the hashtags, and you'll get to show up and be seen and see what others are doing. So there are a few other hooks that are built into this that are going to help with your virtual campaign. One is that, as always, June 7th is significant for us because it's National Cancer Survivors Day. That day coincides with the walk every year. So you can use that as an opportunity to honor someone special or reflect on your own experience if you're a cancer survivor, and use that as something you talk about on that day and in some of your postings. this year is also the 25th anniversary of the Hope in Motion Walk and Run. So that provides you with another important hook to mark the event. We were really planning to make a big deal of the 25th anniversary in person, but just because we're not meeting in person doesn't mean we can't use that as an opportunity. So it's an opportunity for you to share a memory from a past event, maybe create a then and now theme if you did participate 25 years ago. If you have a photo of yourself from back then and now, that could be a fun way to kind of talk about the virtual event and your connection to it. And that 25th anniversary can also be a way to help set fundraising goals and make asks. You could, for instance, ask 25 of your friends to donate $25 or challenge 25 friends on Facebook to donate $25 to the campaign. You could also choose to set your fundraising goal that includes a multiple of 25. You could do, $250 goal. You could do a $2,500 goal. You could do a goal that kind of corresponds with every year that you've participated in the event. In any case, the 25th anniversary provides you with yet another hook to find a way to message and raise money and have fun with the event. We're also asking or encouraging you on June 7th, if you are participating, to wear a t-shirt from a past event, a past Hope in Motion event. Since we can't distribute the t-shirts ahead of time this year because of social distancing, that doesn't mean you can't pull out a favorite t-shirt from a past year. And if you have a really old one, that could be a really fun way to do it, or you could use last year's. But it's another great and easy way to show your support, both personally and on social media. We also think it's a great idea that you could display an old t-shirt on your front porch or on your mailbox that day as a way to mark that you're supporting the event in your neighborhood. And if you have others in your neighborhood who are doing the same thing, you can kind of use that as a way to kind of have a touch point with a neighbor during a difficult time. Another idea that could be a fun way to mark the event on June 7th is to chalk your sidewalk. Decorate your sidewalk or your driveway with chalk in honor of the Hope in Motion Walk and Run. All of these ideas are opportunities to get your neighborhood or community involved, to connect with others who are participating in the event, and for you to take photos to document and share and tag on social media. And signs are a big part of the event each year when we meet in person. Just because you're not in person doesn't mean you can't create a sign, something that you can either display on your home, have up behind you as you're chronicling something on social media or doing a video. Or if you are going out and walking with social distancing, of course, in place with your team, you can walk through the neighborhood or walk through Stamford holding your signs. So, in all of the ways that you would participate normally, find a fun and creative way to do it virtually and use that as a way to create some visuals and to show your support for the Hope in Motion Walk and Run this year. So we're also making plans for a virtual ceremony that day where we can gather online, very likely through Zoom again, to celebrate the 25th anniversary and those who have gone the extra mile to raise money for patients at the Bennett Cancer Center this year. Again, we're going to try to replicate as many of the key touch points from the Hope in Motion Walk and Run that we do in Columbus Park each year, do those things virtually to the best that we can. So we're going to do our best to make sure we provide you with everything you need to have a fun and successful virtual event. We know this isn't what you had in mind, but let's remember why we do this and who we're helping. And before I turn it over to Gail for a final word and for us to start to take questions, I wanted to provide a few final ideas on how you can help us achieve your goals. First, if you're a team captain, we need you more than ever. Your enthusiasm and encouragement with your teams is going to be very important. We're asking everyone to try something new and different this year, and we only have about a month to do it. So your help is especially important. It begins with inviting former and prospective team members to join, and then finding ways to gather together virtually before and during, and in some cases even after the event. But we're hoping you'll help rally your team members to not only take part, but to raise money and help make sure that we're taking care of the patients at the Bennett Cancer Center this year. If you have a friend or family member who you think would enjoy participating virtually, please invite them to join you. You might even be able to take part in the same activity virtually. Having a partner will make this even more fun and will help motivate each other to raise money and to take part. Our third recommendation is to set a fundraising goal. You'll be surprised what you'll accomplish if you set an ambitious fundraising goal and promote it. Your friends and family will likely want to come through and help you meet it. They'll be especially motivated if you promise to do something fun or crazy to reach that goal. So you could, offer to color your hair a crazy color if everybody helps you reach your goal, or post an embarrassing picture of yourself on Facebook. Be specific on a goal and give a number, and then do something fun. Whenever you set a goal, it should be something that's comfortable for you while also being ambitious. You might, for instance, set a goal of $100 so you can qualify for a t-shirt, or you might set a goal of $250 or $2,500, for instance, to play off the 25th anniversary theme we described. And another thing you can do in addition to participating virtually on June 7th is to hold a virtual mini event. Now, usually during this time of year, there are mini events being held, fundraisers at bars and restaurants, yoga events, all kinds of different things that people are doing to help raise money and awareness for the Hope in Motion Walk and Run. And since we can't do those in person this year, we're encouraging those who are creative and want to try something new and different to do a virtual event. And you don't have to wait until June 7th to do that. We've listed a number of mini event ideas here. These would also work as activities that you can do on June 7th, but you could play a virtual game of bingo or do a trivia contest over Zoom or Facebook Live, to help raise money and awareness. You could do a push-up challenge. You could do a talent show or a voice competition. You could do things where you put your pets online and do a cutest pet contest, or a get together for a wine tasting or a virtual happy hour. There are a lot of different ways that you can do fun things virtually. Really, if you have any kind of hobby or activity that you like to do, figure out a way to do it virtually and invite people to join you, ask them to contribute a little bit to the cause, and have a fun time with it. Just because we're locked down doesn't mean we can't try to make the most of it. Okay, so you've heard enough from me. I'm going to turn it over to Gail for a final word, and then we'll take your questions.
Thank you, Peter. Of course, we're not doing this all on our own. Not only will you be participating virtually, our sponsors will be too. They have been so understanding and excited about this new opportunity of us going virtually. So without their help, we couldn't reach our goals. I just want to acknowledge our sponsors. Ashforth, our founding and presenting sponsor, big shout out and thank you for being with us from the very beginning. We also have Bankwell, BMW of Darien, Catalyst, CBRE, Connecticut Business Systems, Cross Rand Insurance, Empire State Realty Trust, Encon Heating and Air Conditioning, Finn Dixon and Hurling, First County Bank, Freepoint Commodities, Gen Re, Graber and Roberts Law Firm, Jackson Lewis, King School, Kohlbrenner and Alexander, Marsh, Oppenheimer, Stanford Office Furniture, SGA, Thomson Reuters, U-Break iFix, United Healthcare, Vertus Investments, Zero Hour Health, and many others that are still considering joining us. Throughout the question and answer period, we'll continue showing the logos of our sponsors to acknowledge all of our great partners who are doing their part to support our patients during this critical time. So that brings us full circle to why we're here today and why we're excited to be working with you to stage our first virtual Hope in Motion Walk and Run. Now more than ever, our patients need the transportation to the Bennett Cancer Center, the lunches that they get during chemotherapy, the stress-reducing treatments, and in some cases, the financial support as they undergo cancer treatment. Cancer does not stop, as we've said, not even for COVID-19. So with your help, we can make sure the support for our patients does not stop either. So I want you to consider going, if you haven't already, to our website at hopeinmotion.org to register and start fundraising tonight. Thank you again for joining us. I'm going to turn it back over to Peter now for our questions and answers.
Thank you so much, Gail, and thanks for everyone for taking the time to walk through this with us. We'd like to open it up for questions now. Both Kari and I and others on the call are available to answer your questions and take your suggestions. I see a few have started to come in through the question answer portal already. So we'll start with those, but you can ask questions at any time and we'll take it from there. First is a question asking whether people can donate to a team and not just individuals. Kari, can you maybe answer that one?
Yes, you can donate to a team or to an individual or just a flat donation to the cause.
Okay, terrific. And there's also a question about whether there'll be lawn signs.
So we won't be providing lawn signs, but we encourage you to make your own sign and put it up in your yard or put it up on your porch or on your house. But there won't be lawn signs this year. I'm sorry about that. I know that's a great tradition of ours. Next year, promise.
Yeah, it's really making the logistics of distributing anything right now is a real challenge. So we're asking to be really mindful of that this year and patient with that fact. There's a suggestion about the survivor's photo as a tearjerker highlight. This is a suggestion to maybe ask survivors to send in a photo in a number of years. And then maybe put together a collage or montage. I think that's a wonderful idea. Kari, do you have an idea on how we might coordinate that or collate that?
It's a wonderful idea. I love the suggestion. If survivors do want to participate in that, I would ask that you email me the pictures and we can try to put something together through our new message board that will be up on the Hope in Motion website.
Great. So I know we did not address every possible question during our presentation, though I would love to think we did. What other things are on people's minds? So a couple people have raised their hands. I'm giving them the opportunity to type in a question because it doesn't really allow us to unmute you.
Peter, there's a question that I saw in the chat. Someone's asking that they're not familiar with hashtags and how does that work?
Oh, sure. Yes. So a hashtag is really basically a written code that you put on a social media message when you post something on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. And they're preceded by a number sign and they include a word or a series of words kind of run together. The reason you do that is that people can search that hashtag and see every post that people have posted around that hashtag. So you wouldn't necessarily need to follow somebody or be a friend with somebody on one of those social networks to be able to see what they're posting around that hashtag. So when we recommend that you use one of those hashtags with your posts, that allows everybody who's interested in the Hope in Motion Walk and Run to see what you're posting, even if they're not connected with you on social networks. Another question, will you put up a sponsor board at the park? Kari, do you have any thoughts on that?
I would have to speak to the city of Stamford. Usually something like that, you would need to pull a permit, and all of the permits have been frozen right now. But it's certainly something I could reach out to my city contacts and ask if that's a possibility, but I would say most likely not.
Okay. Well, we're finding some opportunities to really make sure that we acknowledge sponsors in a creative and thoughtful way throughout this process. So we'll keep providing more information on that as we go. There is a question about when the fundraising period actually ends this year. Kari, can you answer that one as well?
So our fundraising will end on September 30th. We always end each Hope in Motion Walk and Run fundraising period on the last day of September. So it does give people a lot of time over the summer and after our June 7th virtual event to think about doing a mini event, or maybe asking friends and family to donate to you when people start to get back to work and things have hopefully calmed down with the pandemic. So it's nice that we have that little bit of extra time, but it's September 30th.
So yes, so that does give folks some time, especially for mini events after the fact too, or to do some other challenges or goal setting even after June 7th. So that hopefully that will help take some pressure off some folks who may need some extra time, or who may be hoping to do something in person a little later in the calendar. Hopefully things will be open up later this summer and into September. But if they're not, hopefully we can find some ways to help you create virtual versions of those events. Another question has come in about, will there be a kickstart to the run and then walk on the morning of June 7th? Our plan is to do a virtual ceremony that morning to kind of kick off the festivities that day. I don't think we'll be shooting off a starting gun for the run like they normally do. But Kari, do you foresee a situation where we might do something separate for the run on that morning?
I think we'll be doing one ceremony to kick off the whole day so that people can do their activity at any time during that day.
Okay. Great. In past years, there have been sample letters. Are these available, and are our old contacts there?
Your old contacts are there, and we can provide sample letters for you. Certainly, my email is up on your screen right now, so anything that you need for a tool, please email me, and I can provide that stuff for you.
Okay, great. And we have a question about criteria for becoming a sponsor. Can you map out what maybe some of the different sponsorship levels are, Kari?
Okay.
Yes, we do have everything listed on the website at hopeinmotion.org under fundraise. We do have a sponsor tab that lays out all of the sponsorship opportunities. If you don't want to go on the website, be happy to, if you'd like to follow up with me afterwards. Gail and myself can certainly walk you through all the sponsorship levels and what it means and how you go about the certain levels and what benefits are included with those levels.
Great, and Kari's email, as you can see, is right on the screen. She is available to answer additional questions after the webinar today. I know you'll probably have some that pop up and have some other great suggestions, and we've seen a number of great suggestions come in. This one has just popped up in the question box too. The city of Stamford has lit up the government center with words of hope at night. Might be an opportunity, if there's some connections there, to light it up for a week or a night with a Hope in Motion message. It's a good idea, worth pursuing potentially.
It's a wonderful idea, and that's something that we could certainly pursue.
If you created a Facebook fundraiser from the participant center last year, can you create a new page this year? Or can the link to donating to your team appear on your personal Facebook page?
Yes, you would create a new Facebook fundraiser, and you can connect your participant page address to your Facebook fundraiser. They're both connected. All of the money that comes through Facebook will go into your participant center.
Terrific. We've had some great questions come in so far and some great suggestions too. Has everybody thought of or have some early ideas on what they might want to do virtually that day? You don't have to tell us now, but we'd love to see some ideas if you have them pop through too. And we'll be sharing a lot of information over the coming weeks via email and via the Hope in Motion social channels that are both kind of sharing ideas, but also sharing what others are doing. And I see Teresa has already said that she's going to do 50 or 100 miles on her Peloton bike. That's fantastic. That's a great idea. Nobody wants to run a marathon inside their house? Come on. Okay, does anybody else have any final questions? No? All right, well, thank you so much, everyone, for taking time out of your schedules and your evening to join us today. I know we're really excited to try something new and different this year. Certainly, we wish we were getting together regularly to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the Hope in Motion Walk and Run on June 7th. But we're going to make the most of this, and we're going to maybe find some new and creative ways to celebrate National Cancer Survivors Day and to help make sure that we're taking care of those who need it most this year. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your support, and we'll look forward to seeing what you do on now and through June 7th. Thanks, everyone.